Hey there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome back to another episode of the Now Review. And for this installment we're going to be taking a look at a genre that I'm not familiar with, and as a result, it's sadly one of my least favourite Now spin-offs. We're going to be taking a look at Now That's What I Call House.
This is Now House!
And before we get started, apologies if I sound a bit croaky. I've somehow fallen ill. I think it's during the autumn season, blocked nose, weird throat, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, let's have a look at the album. So here's the cover. I do quite like the house, the typography used here, the sort of, like it's coming out from the ground sort of thing. I do think this is a nice little design. I don't know whether it encapsulates house as a scene or anything. There's the spine, nice simple purple with a white text there. So that's out of the way. Let's have a look at the all-important track list. Here is CD 1. And the sad thing about house, guys, is I'm not that familiar with it. A lot of songs on here I did know because this is all like more modern stuff. This was released in 2015, so a lot of these songs I am familiar with. However, as we get into CD 2 and beyond, as we get further down, well, again, these are 2015 too, but along the way as you go, it's mainly CD 3 by the looks of it then. So there you go, that was CD 2. CD 3, now we're getting into like the old stuff. And the sad thing was, I'm not really a fan of house music, and especially with the older stuff, I wasn't familiar with it, which did make me excited because I thought, great, a lot of new tracks I can listen to and enjoy, but I just don't really enjoy it. I don't like the sort of almost repetitiveness of house music, and maybe I just don't get it, or it's not for me, but it's not really my genre. I mean, honestly, out of a good, 44? Out of 66 songs on this album, I only imported 2. Now, I mean, that is partly because I own a lot of the other songs on here already, particularly from CD 1 and 2, but I think the only songs I imported, if I remember rightly, were, I imported Infinity, and I have the 2008 vocal edit anyway, which I think is superior, but I imported the original, and I also imported Dreamer by Living Joy, because I really like that song too. But apart from that, I was a bit disappointed, really, and yeah, it just didn't do much for me. I'll get more into the price and where you can get it and how I got it, but first, we're going to have a look inside. So thankfully there's not an advert here for the Now app. Instead you've got, is that the cover? It's not the cover, but it's, you know, you got all the speakers, wall of speakers, which I imagine house gigs are like, and colourful balls for some reason. Does it echo the 90s? Who knows? I'll let you be the judge. Now here's the disc, silver with a pink trim. I actually do quite like the pink trim around the title, that's quite nice, but silver, grey, it just looks a bit bland. Now the other discs do something similar here. You have a light blue trim and here you have a yellow trim. But I don't know, there's just something about the starkness of it, and I don't know if that again is meant to represent house as a genre, because I thought house was meant to be quite lively and quite varied, but sadly these discs, they're just not doing it for me. So with this album, where can you pick this up? Well, I picked mine up from CEX for £3, and I was even disappointed at getting it for £3, because when I buy these I like to think, okay, on iTunes, which I still use, I'm probably one of the few people who still buy songs off iTunes, but, you know, every song's 99p or £1. Now, if I'm paying £3 for this, if I can find at least 3 songs on here to import over, I've made my money back. I only found 2, so in my mind, I'm £1 out of pocket, which is a real shame. But, yeah, you can find this in CEX. I don't think you can get this in HMV anymore. It has been 3 years, and they tend to swap them out every 2 or 3 years. Some HMVs still might, but you never know. So second-hand places are your best bet now, but you can probably find it for very, very cheap, as I did. Only £3 I paid. Now, the thing with the track list, as I said, if you love house music of the classic house and modern house, then of course you're going to like this. But I would just air a word of caution. If you are unfamiliar with house music, I'd maybe give a lot of these songs that you don't know a separate listen first, like maybe Spotify them or listen to them on YouTube, because I wouldn't want you to put money on it and then feel cheated out of anything, especially if you are paying more than £3 like I did. But as I said, a lot of CD 1 and 2 are songs from 2015, 2014, and I'd argue most of them are pop, not necessarily house. But CD 3 is really where you get in classic house, for want of a better word, and if you aren't familiar with it, I think it's something you need to brush yourself up on. But of course, if you are a true fan of house and you really love the genre, you will not have this problem. Overall, sadly, I do think it is one of the weaker entries in the Now spin-off series, just because, I mean, it's partly down to personal preference, but I just think we have so much better selection. Like, last week when we looked at Classic Soul, I thought that was a perfect spin-off, and Power Ballads being another example. There's just a lot better spin-offs than this one, in my opinion. But that is all for this episode of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. As for next week's review, well, I actually have something set, because this coming Friday, Now That's What I Call Halloween will be released, so next time, that is what we're going to be taking a look at. But in the meantime, thank you all very much for watching. Please like this video, share it around, subscribe to the channel, and until the next one, I will see you guys next time.
Now that's what I call house.